So the man who had fed the world could not feed his own countrymen. And he was turned out of the White House by as large a margin as he was voted in.
Just 1 month after the election, I did something I had done for 20 years. I attended the Gridiron Club dinner in Washington, D.C. The press corps yearly gathered to roast and parody the happenings and personalities in the nation, including the president. And as Mrs. Hoover mentioned, I had taken some real knocks from the press during my administration, and especially during the campaign. Now, the president was always the last to speak. And as I arose, I suppose many were expecting a bitter speech from me. But instead, I focused on a positive suggestion regarding me by some of the press friendly to me. And I said, I notice in the press a generous suggestion that my countrymen owe me some debt. I have said elsewhere that on the contrary, the obligation is mine. My country gave me, as it gives every boy and girl, a chance. It gave me schooling and the precious freedom of equal opportunity for advancement in life, for service, for honor. In no other land could a boy from a country village without inheritance or influence look forward with unbounded hope. And it gave me the highest honor that comes to a man, the Presidency of the United States. For this fullness of life, for the chance to serve in many emergencies, I am indebted to my country beyond any human power to repay.
We retired to our home on the Stanford campus in California, a home which I had designed myself, my dream home. As I left the White House for the last time, I turned to my maid, and with tears in my eyes, I said, Maggie, my husband will live to do great things.
The country was eager to get rid of me, which I guess prompted the almost immediate passage of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, changing the inauguration date to January 20th, but they had to wait 4 years for that to go into effect. Now, in our retirement, we kept a low profile. Lou continued to help her beloved Girl Scouts.
I became national president again from 1935 to 1937. In 1936 occurred the first nationwide cookie drive, and I was credited with buying the very first official box of Girl Scout cookies.
And I became the chairman of the Boys Club of America, a position I held for 28 years. I could think of no greater service than the service to children. After all, we approach all the problems of childhood with affection. Theirs is the province of joy and humor. They are the most wholesome part of the race, the sweetest, for they are fresher from the hands of God.
We were asked on several occasions by both Franklin and Eleanor to head up or work on certain commissions, but respectfully declined to do so, still feeling the sting of his victory and feeling that they had slandered Bert. But soon trouble was brewing in Europe again, so Bert and I traveled to New York to be involved in European relief work. Finnish relief, Polish relief, and Belgian relief. Eventually, the various relief efforts became known as Food for the Small Democracies. We set up home in Suite 31A at the Waldorf Astoria Towers in New York City, and the two of us helped European refugees. When the United States entered the war, I went to work for the Red Cross.
Now, during the First World War, we have been able to overcome the objections of many people to initiate our feeding programs. But this time, the opposition was overwhelming, and we were frustrated in our efforts. In 1941, I said in a speech, "The greatest teacher of mankind did not argue and debate over the ideology and the sins of the two thieves, and he thundered scorn at the priest and the Levite who passed by that man in the ditch." That teaching gave to mankind a new vision, and part of that vision was mercy and compassion. For compassion is one of the major foundations of Christianity. Without compassion, there'd be no legislation for the underdog. Can any man or any woman who believes in the teaching of God say he does not wish us to succeed in this task? Will not future America have lost something If we do not hold to American ideals and American faith now, sadly during the war, we could never fully implement our plans.